for a little while in regards to the scene as we're discussing it. For a while, you believed that there was a missing cup, didn't you?
I did, yes, for a little while.
And in fact, you believed that it was Mr. Taylor who had removed that cup out of the scene, didn't you?
That was my suspicion. I knew there was a cup missing, or I thought there was a cup missing.
And you arbitrarily assigned that misdeed to Mr. Taylor, didn't you?
I never said he removed a cup from the scene that I can think of. I just said that I believed there had been some cleanup because there was a cup that was unaccounted for.
And who did you believe did the cleanup throughout your report?
Specifically of that cup, I don't know.
You didn't think that it was Mr. Taylor who did the cleanup?
Like I said, I don't know. I can say that the cup is in a picture that was on Jade's phone prior to her falling ill. And then later, when we get there, it is over by the sink, sitting next to the wall, the backsplash.
Certainly sitting by the sink inaccessible for you to remove tape tests, correct?
Yes, at that time, if we had known.
And so there was nothing stopping you from knowing, because when you went in to execute the search warrant, the cup was right there the entire time, wasn't it?
There was something to stop me from knowing it was relevant because we didn't get in her phone that night. So I was looking at the glasses that were on the island because glasses were mentioned in the interviews, and looked at those as those were relevant. I wasn't inclined to seize all her drinkware.
Well, wasn't there allegations that Ms. Benning was poisoned as a result of something she was drinking?
Yes.
Would it not have been important to grab every cup, every glass that you saw that was out if we were in search for exactly what happened there that night?
Oh, in retrospect, I absolutely wish I would have done that, but just that night, I did not, because we thought those were the glasses that were in use.
And then it's safe to say none of those glasses or those cups that you left there were tested, were they?
The ones that were left there, no.
And Mr. Taylor did not therefore remove anything from that apartment based on your knowledge.
I'm not aware of him removing anything other than his personal belongings.
Now, as you were learning about the incident, you learned that there was another gentleman who was present that evening with Mr. Taylor, with Mr. Benning, and with Miss Jackson.
Yes.
And that individual not only was present in the house that night, he was also present on this phone call that Miss Jackson says these allegations were made against Mr. Taylor. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And when you learned about this incident, did you, and that person is Keontae Jones, right?
And to correct what I just said, he was not present on the phone call where she made the allegations. He was present on a return phone call made by Miss Jackson with him merged into the call.
Within minutes of that call, correct?
Yes, it was a few minutes after.
He was the only other person besides Miss Jackson that would have heard Miss Benning in her distressed state. Would you agree with that?
By that point, she was already believed to be unconscious, so he wouldn't have heard anything.
Well, he didn't tell you that he heard her mumbling a little bit but couldn't make out words, but he could hear her trying to talk?
I can't recall exactly.
And knowing that he was present there that night, knowing that he was the only other person on the phone with her, did you bring him downtown to talk to him like you thought it was important to talk to Miss Burks and Miss Jackson?
Not at that time at night. They were there available, ready to go, and I was going to have to follow up with him later. I also didn't even learn about him until that interview.
Which was the 26th?
Yeah, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning or so. It was getting close to 1 o'clock before I was even aware of Keontae Jones.
1 o'clock on the 27th?
Yes. It was during the interview with Nigeria, I believe, that I learned a little about that.
Not even 48 hours after the incident.
Yes, that's correct.
And so after you learned about him, why didn't you bring him downtown so that you can talk to the only other witness to witness Ms. Benning's distressed state and the person who was inside of the apartment that night?
Because I was going to talk to him at a later time.
And how did you talk to him at a later time?
I've interviewed him over the phone.
It wasn't important to bring him down?
I've interviewed people over the phone all the time. I try to bring people down sometimes, and sometimes I'll talk to them over the phone. Sometimes I'll talk to them in the field.
Did you do any research on Mr. Jones to see if he had any criminal history, to see anything nefarious about him?
Objection, Your Honor.
Let the lawyers step
What all did you do in regards to Keontae Jones besides talking to him on the phone?
I just interviewed him over the phone.
Now, after you met with Ms. Burks, you met with Ms. Jackson. Is that right?
Yes.
And she explained to you the context and things of their relationship, Mr. Taylor and Ms. Benning, correct?
Yes, she did.
And there was some information that she had given you that wasn't quite consistent with what was going on between them. Would you agree?
You'd have to specify what you're talking about there. I'm not sure.
Well, didn't she also state to you that Mr. Taylor abruptly ended the relationship because Ms. Benning had gotten pregnant?
I can't remember specifically that was the wording she used. It was definitely the impression that I got from the interview.
And that wasn't completely accurate, was it?
Well, it was framed in the situation that he had given her an ultimatum between getting rid of the baby or the relationship, and that was my understanding of the reason she said, well, I'm not getting rid of the baby.
And he gave her the freedom to make her own choice, didn't he?
At that time, yes.
That is very different than abruptly leaving someone because they're pregnant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, during the search of the apartment, by the time that you and the other officers are conducting the search, you are under the impression that there is, in fact, a potential poisoning, aren't you?
Yes, at the time we're searching.
And therefore, drugs were at issue, were they not?
Yes, they would have been.
Would it have been important to look into all of the drawers and boxes and anything where drugs can potentially be hidden?
Sure.
That didn't happen, did it?
I don't know. I didn't search the entire apartment myself. My entire team was involved in searching, so I feel like we did a fairly thorough search. But I don't know specifically what every single item, every container was opened, because there were several of us conducting the search.
You'll agree with me that every box was not looked into.
I can't say yes or no to that because I didn't personally search everything in the apartment.
Well, you didn't do that, did you?
I didn't search everything in the apartment?
Yes.
No, I personally did not. My team, we conducted the search.
You were the lead detective, though, right?
Correct.
You were running the show.
Correct.
You didn't instruct those officers who were there to find drugs to look in any place where drugs could be stored.
Well, everybody knew that's what we were looking for, any evidence of poisoning. So that's everybody operating under that assumption and understanding.
So if you didn't look into every drawer, every box, every container, would that have been an oversight that could have potentially led to more evidence?
Potentially, but also potentially not.
There was also, if I may, Your Honor, there was also talk about a pink liquid that Ms. Benning was drinking, correct?
Yes.
And there was talk about Ms. Benning stating that her drink tasted funny, right?
Yes.
And that is what made those cups so important to taste, correct?
Yes.
This lemonade and fruit punch that was placed on the corner there, do you see that?
Yes. That
was something that you gathered and tested as well, correct?
Our CSI, he took the samples of those liquids and tested them, yes.
Because there were no other drinks that matched the description that Ms. Jackson had given you in that apartment. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of any others.
And you did, in fact, test those drinks?
No, the crime lab did, yes.
and it turned out that there was nothing in there that would be the equivalent of cocaine or anything else that could poison someone, correct?
That's correct.